I know that parents are absolutely unstoppable. And I know that parents know their children the best, better than any provider, better than any expert. I know that they know when something's not right. I know when they know that something is for them. I know we're going to talk a little bit about parental instincts a little later on here in our conversation. And truly, if I could express one thing to you, it's that you know your child and what is meant for them more than anybody else.
All right, parents, here we go. Another absolutely, I'm calling the shot instantly with this one, exceptional podcast episode here with the Experience Miracles podcast, where we bring you hope, answers, and drug-free help. And man, we're leaning hard on the hope on this one. We're going to lean hard on the empowerment with this one. We have one of my favorite, most cherished, best friend humans, all the things here, Miss Jacqui, sitting alongside me for this podcast episode. And Jacqui has a lot to share because God has crafted and called Jacqui to do so much for this mission. Jacqui does so much for me personally. We could probably have some fun stories on that one. Jacqui takes such good care of me. It's insane. Jacqui is a rock star wife and mom with 3 brilliant, these boys. See, they mean the world to me. You know that. They're like family to us, with Justin and Logan and Luke. But Jacqui has also had a heck of a story herself out there, moms and parents. Jacqui has come through the storm for her boys and has just earned and served and led herself to a position of impact on our team. So this is the least bullet-pointed bio and introduction I will read for anybody on here. But what Jacqui's official position at our practice, Pediatric Chiropractic, outside of Chicago, and on Team PX as well, and PX Docs, she is our Chief Heart Officer. We're going to get right into her story, her boy's story, and just her purpose and her role in all this. But what's different is someone can have a lot of passion and someone can have a lot of energy and excitement, but then can they do good with it? Can they actually turn that into impactful action? And that's what Jacqui does on the daily. You do it on Zooms. You do it on phone call. You like talking to people on the phone.
I do. I'm old school like that.
Yeah, super old school. So, Miss Jacqui Jakubowicz.
Yes.
Welcome to the Experience Miracles
Thank you
podcast.
for having me. This is awesome.
This is going to be a blast. So, we're going to go through your story, and we're going to do as we do every time we share a story. We're not going to share it for the sake of storytelling. We're going to share it for the sake of relatability and impact making, right? And so if we go back to the beginning when, and I think our boy Lee, your husband, is involved in the beginning of your chiropractic story. So how did this begin with you guys with Logan?
Sure. So it started with us. Chiropractic entered our lives when my son was 5 years old. What was really interesting is my husband, he's complete opposite of me. So he's like a very calm, cool, and collected guy. He's quiet, very introspective. And when he speaks up about something, I listen because he chooses his moments very carefully. And he heard an ad on the radio for the Perfect Storm workshop. And when he heard that ad, something in his heart got tugged at. And he knew that it was something that we needed to explore. So he told me about it. He said that he felt that it seemed like it would be a great option for Logan, and he wanted to go and listen to the workshop. Now, the format of that workshop was a little different than we do things now.
Kept you there all day.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, we actually missed almost every other presenter except for the one right before you. And we actually almost didn't go because of that, because I'm like, we missed almost this whole thing. Like, what's the point? We went there though, and that day truly changed our lives, because when we started hearing this man talking about the science behind the perfect storm, it was the very first time that I, as a parent, felt like I was actually encountering a provider who understood what we were facing with my son.
And when you get to that, well, first off, I was thinking a joke. We are best friends. When I say it, we make this impact together. So we're going to get sciencey, and we're going to get emotional, and we're going to get plenty of sarcasm as well.
Yeah.
First off, you just dated me by talking about the fact that we used to run radio ads. Okay, so people are like,
I know.
Some parents are like, did they say radio? Is
I
that where we're at?
know. Yeah.
So my ability to reach parents, we talked about this all the time here on the podcast, is like, our number one job is to just capture your attention and let you know that this option exists. And so we have to find you first. So in today's world, we are not running radio ads, but we definitely maybe found you on an Instagram or a Facebook ad.
Absolutely.
Same conversation, talking sensory. I think the ad that Lee responded to was talking about sensory meltdowns and tantrums. So let's stay there. So prior to the reason you guys needed to get to that workshop and get a different kind of doctor on your team is because you had been in the thick of the storm for years, and you'd been doing all the standard things, right? Good things, but they hadn't gotten you where you needed to get.
No, they hadn't. And it was actually that term raging bull that you used during the perfect storm. I was like, well, I got one of those. And, for my son at the time that chiropractic entered the scene, he was 5. Yeah. We had done dietary changes. So we were gluten-free, we were dairy-free. He was in a contained classroom. Yeah. He was getting speech. He was getting OT. He was getting social and emotional therapy. I mean, we had done a lot. And really none of those things had moved the needle in the way that we were hoping, to the degree of healing that we were seeking for him. And we just knew that more was possible. And we were just going to relentlessly pursue that. Some of the things that we were facing day to day that were our biggest struggles, I always go back to thinking about the fact that he was 5 and not potty trained. When you have a 5-year-old child and they're not potty trained, the world looks at you a little funny because they make the assumption that you must be a bad parent. Well, we tried every bit of parenting we knew and then some to try to get him to use the restroom, but his body was not recognizing the physiological cues to go to the bathroom. I mean, no matter, no amount of bribery or, consequences was going to change that. He also wasn't feeling pain. He wasn't making eye contact. He wasn't having normal peer-to-peer interactions. He had limited communication. And he was just really unhappy. He was actually so unhappy in his body, having meltdown after meltdown, sensory storm after sensory storm. And it just sucked. Seeing my son struggle like that. Something that I stay really centered on every day in my role is knowing that the ultimate goal of every parent is to have their child be happy and relaxed in their own body. And that was the number one goal we had for him.
And I think the thing that I can share with you, this is the exact position, this is the exact perspective, I suppose, maybe a better word, that we take from our doctor role, from our pediatric chiropractor role with our patients, and we teach this to our other doctors in the PX Docs Network, is to simultaneously live in these two seemingly different spaces. This is not necessarily the easiest thing to do, but I think parents will really relate to this, and I think they'll really want this from their doctors. The number one thing we do at all times is we continue to keep our eye on the big picture. The moment we meet the Logans of the world, we absolutely see full, complete, optimal recovery and healing. We set that as our target. Call us crazy if you want. I think you want some crazy on your team. When every other doctor and every other practitioner says this is genetic, there's nothing you can do about it, this is as far as you're going to get, this is going to get, it's the worst. So we swing the freaking steering wheel to the other side and we go to optimal outcomes and we set our care plan with that as our North Star. And at the same time, we live each day with our families and our patients in the reality. And we say, this sucks. We get you, we got you, and let's go to work. So now what you guys did, so at the end of every workshop and at the end of every webinar, you can watch the Perfect Storm webinar. I guarantee when you're listening to this, go to our website, pxdocs.com. If there isn't a live one coming up, we'll get you a recording of one. You got to watch the webinar. Now, after you get all the information is useless without action. And so it's all about action. And so what you and Lee did, and I remember you standing at the table, booking your appointments and saying, okay, I'm going to come in. We're going to do a deep dive consult about Logan's case history. Let's take his perfect storm individually through together, you guys and me as his doctor at that time. Let's get into his scans. Let's get into that. So now your story continues, my friend. You had a moment your first visit, I think it was lots of things that happened during the consult, but then on the way walking out, there was a certain sign above the door.
Yeah, there was. So I actually, interestingly enough, I remember this every year because I posted about it on social media. I remember being in the community area of our old practice, and I looked above the door and I noticed that the door made a cross, and right above that there was a sign that said "Expect Miracles." And man, it makes me choked up a little bit thinking about it. But I just knew God was doing a special work that day, and I didn't know what it was going to look like, but I never felt more on purpose than I did in that moment. That was definitely one of those God wink moments. And I expected a miracle, and we got one. Actually, we got a couple of them.
Yeah.
So
and there's a reason that this sucker's called Experience Miracles, and there's a reason that half the episodes you'll see me if you get over to YouTube or you watch any of the kind of snippets, such a fun word, snippets of these things on social, you'll often see us wearing our Expect Miracles t-shirts. Now, if you're first getting introduced to this and you're going to go through this interview and you're like, show me that science, tell me that science. Well, other episodes are going to do that. The Perfect Storm webinar is going to do that. But we know the stories of the Lukes and the Logans and the Olivers and the Lanes and everything so much, but we also know the science that is literally our clinical approach. It's not just our emotional hope dealer approach. It's our literal scientific approach that says God made our kids not to get sick. We know now unequivocally exactly the sequence of the storm that makes them sick. So we know when you know exactly what makes a child sick and get locked into autism and all the things, you know exactly what you need to do in order to get them out of the storm and to the other side. So when you see here us talk about Expect Miracles, there is a clinical backing to that we will deliver to you as well.
I think you can't underestimate the power of hope and a plan put together. Yeah. I mean, you'll see a lot. We talk about hope, answers, and help. And, instilling hope, giving actual concrete answers and putting together a plan, and then coming alongside your family and actually walking with you through the storm. That is a very powerful thing.
There you go. So when we got to that moment in your patient journey with Logan, so Logan was up first, right?
Yep, he was.
Logan was in there going through his storm, 5 years old, 5 years of struggle.
Yeah.
His sensory system was a mess. His digestive and bowel bladder communication was a mess. He was just stuck in that storm, and we sat down. It was the end of the night. Yep. Remember, know me, and she now schedules these for me, so she knows my favorites. My favorite time is to end my day with a first, what's called a report of findings. So we sit across and we go through the scans and we go through the exam findings and the plan and the care plan, the neurological restoration care plan, and then we make that child's first adjustment. And just me personally, I love ending every single day. We get to see hundreds of patients every single day, but I love ending with a brand new one and going home to my family who knows that my job is to help create miracles. So we did that for Logan. So you and Lee sat across, old office, 411 Congress. That's right. And he sat across. What was that night like?
Yeah. It was the first time that I felt like somebody, I said this, earlier about the perfect storm, but I want to expand on it a little bit. When we actually saw his scans partnered with the actual plan that we were going to follow to achieve his restoration and the goals that we had for him, it actually felt like the plan correlated to him. Everything else that we had done previous had been like a cookie cutter plan in a box of like, this is what you do and don't expect much and we'll see. And I hate we'll see. No. I hate we'll see, because you know what we're going to see? A fat lot of nothing.
Well, let's give it a shot here. That's how Jacqui punches you right in the throat.
But you know what? We saw that plan and we're like, okay, like this makes absolute sense, especially seeing on those scans just the areas where he was subluxated, the areas where that misalignment, miscommunication was happening, the way that his body was, adapting or not adapting to stress, and just being able to see like how the function of his, system was going to improve with that plan. I was excited and hopeful, also nervous. Yeah. I would be lying if I didn't say that I was nervous, mostly because when something is unfamiliar, it can just make you a little nervous. But I think having that expectation of we have a plan, I'm on paper, on purpose, we're moving forward from here and just being excited. Like I look back on that now and I'm so excited that I had that feeling of, starting something new and just taking a step forward in action to change my son's life.
So we're going to skip the middle, a very important middle here for a second about your story and how you went from a mom and a patient and bringing her family into now being just the crucial heart of our team. Yeah. The job you have on our team is this, connecting with these moms and speaking to these moments of confusion, these moments of excitement, but also these moments of nervousness. So we can lean on that one for me, buddy. When you are connecting with another mom, and we know that this is brand new to you guys out there. We know the vast majority of you, one, chiropractic might just be brand new, period, right? But number two, this kind of chiropractic, which I'll come back to, and we'll break this down through Logan's story and Luke's story. This kind of chiropractic, this technology, these scans she's alluding to, this is not your grandma's chiropractic. This is not chiropractic in a van down by the river, okay? This is a different kind of chiropractic. Absolutely. So it's almost so good, it is almost probably more nerve-wracking because it's like, dang, this is what's possible. Yeah. So when another mom is nervous, when moms and dads are nervous about taking this, we'll call it new approach. They're going to move away from drugs. They're going to move away from doctors who dismissed them and didn't address the root cause. And they're going to go. And when we present a plan to a family, there's no half donkey, no half ass in it, right?
No, totally.
And we go all in. How do you help them through that nervousness?
I just think I have such a deep personal understanding of exactly what they're thinking and feeling because it's my lived experience, that I know to speak exactly to those things. And never at any point am I going to pretend like they're not having any and all of the feelings that they're having. I know what they're feeling. I speak directly to that. And then I also call them to higher ground. Like, I know where you are. I see where you are. I get what your day-to-day is like. I've been there, but also we've got this plan and I know how to get you from A to B, from where you are to where you want to be, but let me be your guide and let me come alongside you with this team and get you to that place.
Yeah. And I think so we're really isolating a crucial thing that we'll talk about a lot on the podcast. We talk about all the time within the PX Docs network is if your doctor doesn't really, they can do a lot of things right up until this moment. They can really listen to you. They can really connect with you. They can really educate and inform you. They can really take this clinical approach to go after the root cause. But when it comes time to present the plan, if they are not infinitely more confident than maybe you even expect them to be, like, something wrong with this guy?
Yeah.
Like, holy heck, all these other doctors, we'll see how it goes, or we don't know. We don't know what's causing autism. Good luck. Try these therapies. We'll see. When you have that experience, and then this one is in such stark contrast, I actually want to really isolate that. We are isolating that because I want you to demand that. Yes. I know that's a pushy word, but like, your doctors for your child should have clarity, conviction, certainty. And I can tell you, you're going to get that from PX Docs because that's actually the foundation of their training is we teach them how to really build care plans in the PX Docs network. And that does not exist outside of PX Docs, even within chiropractic. Yeah. Most other kind of non-PX Docs within pediatric and family chiropractic. And we know this because we often are sending an intensive kiddo home to another doc and trying to get this to pair up, line up. And often it's the plan that is most watered down, most diluted. And for a parent, that's not fair, is it?
No, it's not fair because the plan is what is going to be the special sauce, if you will. I mean, truly, like, I get the question all the time from parents, what is the number one determining factor to make sure that my child is as successful as they can be? It's following the care plan. You guys, it's not magic. The magic's in the math, and the math is follow the care plan. And that is truly what determines it. So that's why that frequency for that duration, whatever that care plan is, actually following those clinical recommendations is truly what is going to create that magic for your child.
Yeah, and that's how you can really, that's a litmus test between a real, true, neurologically focused pediatric chiropractor and honestly any practitioner, anybody. So like our besties in the world of PT and OT and speech, they know that to get the job done, you got to get the job done. This is, we're discussing what's called neuroplasticity here. So the science of neurological healing, and it is entirely dependent upon two it's actually very advanced and very simple. And I love how God gave us the ability to just teach this stuff, this advanced stuff simply. There's really two levers. There is frequency, and then there's duration. And it's your doctor's job to go through your child's case history, yes, to know what we're up against. So the perfect storm has elements. It has depth. It has severity. And so we quantify that with our clinical approach. And so there's math, right? Trust the math. But most importantly, we use a technology that allows us to actually assess. So we knew Logan's nervous system. We knew exactly how much stress, how much subluxation and sympathetic dominance it was stuck in. We knew exactly where. We can pinpoint these, what's called subluxation and tension patterns in there. So we knew exactly what we were up against. So the plan was built perfectly customized to Logan. No cookie cutter approach. And so we think you should run away from doctors who don't have a real clear plan and seem to cookie cutter every kid with, here's your symptoms, here's your diagnosis, here's your medication, good luck. You should run away from those towards this kind of doctor.
Also, what I've really found in my journey as a parent is usually the simplest things are the things that move the needle the most. That's what I love so much about chiropractic is that the body learns through repetition. That's why the care plan is so crucial. We have a very simple system of helping the body to relearn, to establish and relearn a new pattern. That's what's so beautiful about it. And for me, in all the things that we've done to support both of my perfect storm kids, both Logan and Luke, the simplest things always move the needle the most. And the simplest and most beautiful in my mind is chiropractic.
So here's what we're up against, everybody. I'm just going to get real personal for 30 seconds as we go into the next part of the story. If Jacqui learns how to adjust, I am out of a job. Okay? That's what I'm picking up in the middle of this podcast because goodness, lady. This lady can talk, hope dealing. She can explain the science of neuroplasticity. You're going into neurological reorganization and new patterns being built. Pretty soon, she's going to teach a lecture on the prefrontal cortex. I mean, this is something. My voice is getting high-pitched because just having fun. Because that's the plan. Because everybody on your team, including, the care advocates that support your family, should know their stuff. All right. So you know your stuff. So we're going to go back to the base here. You know your stuff, not because, we've trained you on these science elements or whatever. You've lived this. So Logan, let's go to the good. Then we're going to so Logan's transformative story. Then let's bring my man Luke into this. All right. Make some pancakes here. Sounds good. I still owe Luke a pancake breakfast. Okay. There's an inner story
big
there.
Pancake guy.
Big pancake guy. And he does not let me forget it. So Logan is thriving. So tell us where Logan is today. Right?
Logan today is healed to a degree that I could have never fathomed when he was 5 years old. He's 14. He's totally mainstreamed in school. He makes eye contact. He communicates a little too well.
Well, point blank.
Yeah, he's very literal and direct, but love that about him. He's on high honor roll. He's participating in sports. He has friends. And he's just healed to a degree that I never could have fathomed. I could have never have set these kind of goals back then. Of course, I always hoped and dreamed that he would, be healed in a way similar to this, but it's blown every single expectation that I've had out of the water. And then some. And
he's
so
leaning into his gifts as well. He's wildly talented as an artist.
Absolutely leaning into his gifts. And so instead of the conversation being about, Logan struggling and all these things being wrong with him, it's actually able to bring out and exemplify the things that are great about him, which he's so creative. He's an incredible artist. He loves to create media. Like, I don't know, you never know in the future, Logan could be on this team.
Well, Fortnite designer, babe. Or,
You never
He's
know.
gonna ditch us. Let's not kid ourselves here. I mean, he likes me. We're homies. But I think he's gonna just go off with his future.
He definitely will, and it's so cool. Even we last week had an experience where, sports are something that it can be really difficult for special needs kids or sensory kids specifically. And Logan's like, Mom, I'm decided I want to participate in wrestling. And I was like, oh, okay. Sounds good. perfect. And he took it upon himself to go to the wrestling meeting, coordinate getting on the team, getting everything totally set up. And he's so excited to start that in a couple weeks. I could have never even pictured him being able to do a sport, let alone find one he wants to do, take all the steps needed to go and participate and get signed up and all of that. And I'm so excited.
We really want you guys to hear this part of the podcast. What also makes this kind of, what makes chiropractic different is going back to the plan. Well, what is the plan setting its sights on? What is the target? What is the goal? The goal, the way we work is vastly different than traditional doctors. The thing we celebrate most is not the bad stuff that goes away. Now we celebrate hard when constipation goes away and meltdown goes away and chronic illness goes away. All the list of symptoms and conditions that we don't want anymore for our kids. And those weigh heavily on our heart. I mean, when your kid gets a sinus congestion, it breaks your heart, right? Let alone seizures and these things. So we are going for the reduction, the elimination, like we're going for it. We want the bad stuff gone. Yes. That's not the end game goal of chiropractic. In fact, it's not at all. The end game goal of chiropractic is to get the most amount of good, to lean into and see the highest quality of life expressed. And my personal obsession with perfect storm work with autism and ADHD and sensory is I'm a raging bull. So I coined the term because I is the term, okay? And that's not good English right there. But I am a raging bull. And I know that when I found chiropractic after 20 years of not sleeping, 20 years of not being able to pay attention in class at all, 20 years of, struggling in certain ways, now my ADHD is a mother flipping superpower because I have this gas pedal, just go, go, go brain God gave me. But I also now have a brake pedal and a vagus nerve and handling and adaptability and resiliency. And I see Logan, that's actually what Logan, so clinically and life at the same time, what Logan has is resiliency. What Logan has is the ability to take a breath when he needs one. What Logan has is the ability to make fantastic decisions to say, those folks over there, they don't influence my life. This direction over here, this is my life. And so what we want you to have pediatric chiropractic in your life for your kids is to not get rid of struggle. It's to get to their thriving. It's to get to the full expression of how God made him. And I see that with Logan every day.
Yeah. And it's so true. And, something that I think about is, early days with Logan, so much of the, mental and emotional energy I had in the relationship as my mom, being his mom, was wrapped up in trying to orchestrate every single day, every single moment to minimize the amount of trauma that he was going to go through day to day with how much he was struggling. And now to be in a space where he's able to function and thrive and just absolutely crush life, but also is able to advocate for himself too. Like Logan, when he needs a break, he's like able to easily say, I need a break. Or he's able to say, I actually don't want to do that. I want to do this. And that sounds so simple, but y'all, you have to understand where we're coming from. And for him to be able to calmly and happily do those things, like I'm so proud of my son and what he's been able to do being powered by chiropractic.
Okay, buddy. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to call an audible in the middle of this podcast, all right? You are just too impactful to this mission and all that we do as your position as a mom and as a chief hope dealer and heart officer. So we're bringing you back on for another episode, and we're going to go into our boy Luke there, okay? So we're going to have a part 2 with Jacqui. Because what I want to do here yet on this episode is I want to continue your story. And so that's what we've really consciously, heck, I'd even say probably strategically chosen to do with this podcast is not skip us. Us parents.
Okay.
Because we are easily skippable. You know who loves to skip over us? Us. Ourselves.
That's so true.
Who loves to dismiss us, who loves to put us at the back of the bus and then back us over with the bus, right? When it goes into reverse and it's like, didn't see you laying there, mom and dad. And so you have, I don't know how to ask this question because it's just so damn awesome. You are now living an expression of your best life through your role on our teams. You're such a powerful, impactful woman. You don't have a job in the brick and mortar practice. You have a crucial, life-changing job there. But you just got done, prior to recording this, you just got done training hundreds of chiropractors how to improve the work that they do for kids and reach more kids. And so What is your story? I can share it, but I want you to share it. What is your story over these years as a mom coming on the team? And I honestly want you to really expand upon the why. Why did you want these positions so bad? Why do you still go after growth still today? You're going to be stronger, better, bigger, at your job next year.
Yeah.
What drives that?
So I think back to where I first realized that this was like a path God was putting me on from a personal journey, if you will. And that was when I shared my parent testimonial at the very first Perfect Storm that I attended as a mom, somewhat on the other side of the journey. Okay. And I remember sharing my parent testimonial there. And I remember getting just a hint of a taste of what it felt like to be a hope dealer. And I just knew that there was a plan and a purpose that God had for everything that I had been through. The saying is, if he takes you through to it, he'll take you through it. And I know that the pain that we experienced had a purpose, and that purpose was exactly what I have been doing on this team for all these years ever since, sharing at that Perfect Storm and then the one after that, and then being invited to join the team part-time and within 2 months being the office coordinator, and now working on this team now for almost 8 years. It has been a passion. It has been a privilege, and I will always work relentlessly in this capacity because it is the purpose for my life. And I know what parents are facing. I still live it. I have 2 Perfect Storm kids. And so it means that God is always showing me at every turn the opportunity that I have to guide, to empower, to educate, and to motivate people, parents, chiropractors. I know the influence that I can have in this realm because of the story that God gave me. And I just take that deeply to heart. And I work pretty relentlessly in my different roles because I care about it that much.
Yeah. And you see, and the blessing we have in our roles, we are, from outside people looking in, they got to really wonder, dang, that kind of chiropractic must be different because these people, they're all in.
Yeah.
You got to get very, very throaty with the way you say all in
Totally.
with that because it is. You and we don't really consider our jobs work. That's the blessing God gave us. But we do. We bust our butts. You bust your butt. Christina does that. The whole team is just relentless and obsessive because we've lived it and we've seen it and then we've shared it. And there's something about that third element that is like, dang, there's some secret sauce to that. And so we really want to inspire. I knew we'd get, I didn't know how, but I knew we'd get to, with Jacqui's episode here, get this message to you, moms and dads right now. We want you to hear us for you, for your story. We will always be speaking to you to go through you and help change your child's life, but we want to change yours at the same time with the PX Docs platform. And so one of our other favorite, and you're so much better. I'm the context guy. You get the words right and the context. I butcher them, and it's such an Iowa farmer thing of me. So our favorite quote and discussion that our whole team lives by, one of our favorite podcasters, Ed Milet, was interviewing one of our favorite teachers. We've heard him on this episode. We heard it in person too, Rory Vaden. And the saying goes, you are best equipped to help the person you once were. Is that right? Did I get it?
Yes.
Dang, I got it. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's go there. So we were in the storm.
Yep.
Yeah. And so what do you think, parents, what potential impact do these kiddos' parents hold for other parents? What roles could they carve out in the future?
There's so many options. Here's the thing. I know that parents are absolutely unstoppable. And I know that parents know their children the best, better than any provider, better than any expert. I know that they know when something's not right. I know when they know that something is for them. I know we're going to talk a little bit about parental instincts a little later on here in our conversation. And truly, if I could express one thing to you, it's that you know your child and what is meant for them more than anybody else. And providers, I look at my role as, yes, I'm that guide. I am meant to serve these parents because I was once them, but also I'm helping to deepen their own understanding of themselves as a parent and of their child. So
I think we're looking to strengthen their resolve.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because the society is going to tell you a lot of negative things, unfortunately, just to deal with it and not to expect much, and that there's not help, and, you're just going to be stuck. And
don't listen to your gut, listen to the doctors, listen to the research.
And what I am here to say is the exact opposite. Like, so much more is possible. And your kid absolutely can thrive. And there are answers and there are solutions. And I just think it's so exciting to get to do that and get to be part of that. And, we think about, I think about the empowerment aspects. Here's the thing. Having a child that is a perfect storm child, that trauma is not just on the child. That affects the parents. That affects the parents' health. It affects the other children in the home. It affects the marital dynamics. 80% of special needs parents get divorced. And that is just because of all the stress that comes into the family relationship because they have a child with special needs. And I actually want to be the person to say that, sometimes things are going to happen, but also we want to support you in having a really healthy, happy family unit. We want to help your perfect storm kid, but then we also want to help your other child. We also want to help you. We want to help dad. And we want to shore up and create a community in our space and in the spaces of the PX docs that can create an environment of healed and whole families. Yeah. And that's a really important thing.
Yeah, we'll run through the list. Absolutely. So you're on this looking for the path, looking for the plan to get through the storm, to your child's optimal outcomes, to their best life period. Well, here's I don't know if I'll hit every one of them on memory here, but here's a list of absolutes. Here's a list of must-have, must-do things. Yeah. Number one, you must find doctors who listen, doctors who go after the root cause, and doctors who go drug-free. Because if they're using drugs, they're stuffing symptoms down, and to their blessing, they're not even pretending to address the root cause. Nothing about medicine says, hey, we're gonna find the root cause of your child's ADHD and autism. No, we're gonna blame genetics and bad luck, and we're gonna try and stuff it down and skirt around it best we can. That is, that's there. So you need to find a doctor who listens. You need to find a doctor who partners with you. You need to find a doctor who addresses the root cause. Yeah. Now, that list continued. In order to find the root cause, that doctor must be a nervous system focused chiropractor. Absolutely. Because the nervous system runs the gut. So if you have worked on your child's gut, gone gluten-free, casein-free, every supplement and every microbiome regeneration plan out there, and they're still struggling, it's because the nervous system controls the microbiome. Yeah. If you have tried gross motor, PT, OT, speech therapy, gross motor, fine motor therapy, the nervous system controls motor tone and coordination. If you have tried counseling and behavioral and cognitive therapy, the nervous system controls brain-based decision-making, everything. When the nervous system is stuck in subluxation, sympathetic dominance, dysautonomia, the amygdala runs rampant. That's all emotions, and the hippocampus and the prefrontal cortex are shut down, and that's decision making. So you have to have a doctor who addresses the nervous system. Yeah. And the other thing we need, so that's kind of the clinical list, but I wanted to go through that to get to this. Yeah. What you need, what we need as families, what I needed when Oliver was in the NICU is I needed Dr. Cody and I needed Dr. Bria, and I needed these folks that said, you will get through the storm. Yes. We are here with you. We need community. Yeah. We need our tribe. And so we have chosen to build the PX Docs platform. You saw I had a little bit of fun going through the science there, okay? A lot of the videos and a lot of the episodes is going to be all science. And it's good. You want a doctor who can actually explain to you why your kids are sick? You're finding them. I am that doctor. Yeah. You want a doctor who can show you the research that proves that what we're saying is absolutely scientifically proven? We've got that research. You can go to pxdocs.com, read the articles, go to the bottom. The research citations are there. We have that too, but what we lean hard on is this. This conversation we're having with Jacqui is as essential, if not more, to healing. Because healing ain't easy. It's not linear, and it's not overnight. Yeah. And so if you don't have a tribe, if you don't have a care advocate, if you don't have a champion on your team, and probably a whole friggin' bunch of them, you might duck out. You might exit stage left just before that miracle was to be experienced. And so what I love about Jacqui's job and our whole team is we never give up on you.
Yeah.
We never don't believe you. And we always tap into your gut instinct. So I need you just to tap in a little bit further on what you mean when you say, moms, we believe you.
Yeah. Well, I want to say one thing. You know, all of the things that you said about healing, one final point I want to make on that is healing doesn't happen alone either.
No.
And that's why the community is so important, right? The community is so important because healing happens best in the community. And that's part of what it is. So as far as that statement goes and to your question, Tony, you know, I think back to an interaction that I had with a mom in our practice who's actually now on our team. And she actually was talking about her experience with her child. And when she told me that experience that they had, I could see how nervous she was to tell me about her lived experience. And I'll never forget, I looked at her and I said, we believe mom's here.
Yep.
And she told me later on that I changed her life that day when I told her that. And that's the only thing I knew that was 100% the right thing to say, because that is actually what we do. We do believe parents. If you tell me that this is your lived experience with your child, we believe you, right? And you don't have to justify yourself to us. We believe you. We affirm that that was your experience. And again, going back to that community aspect, you're welcome here. Like, you are in a space of support. You're in a space of education, and we are your community, and we are also going to be part of your healing. You know, one of our CAs on our team, Jen, she talks about 50% of the adjustment happens in the community area with the care advocates. And that's actually a very intentional title that we use for our team members. They're care advocates. They are loving on our patients. They are supporting our patients, and they are helping to advocate for and with our patients. And that is an intentional aspect of the community that we create. And that community that we create is a healing space, and it is done together.
And that is, you know, I'm going here because, you know, just like I know you, my bestie, you know me, Captain, you know, the science guy. So later on, somewhere downstream here on this podcast, we will be interviewing one of my best friends in the world, Dr. Dan Sullivan, about the science of hope and how there's actually literal strategy. That may sound like a strategy. That may sound like, oh, they do that for, I don't know, but it is scientifically proven that hope dealing is healing.
Yes.
And so we use it to your child's advantage. We build our community spaces. When you walk into your PX Docs office, you are going to have such a different experience.
Yes.
It's why we named this the Experience Miracles podcast. It's why our training for the chiropractors is called the Pediatric Experience, because the experience matters massively. Now, last thing I want to talk about on this first episode with you, my friend, is the other thing God has called us to is to take on the least easy cases. Yep. And for all the reasons we know through our experiences and as personally, as parents, through our experience clinically and just the amount of reps and experience that we literally have. We've had the leading pediatric chiropractic practice, specifically the perfect storm, autism, ADHD, epilepsy practice in the world for a long time now. If you watch it on YouTube, I have a fair amount of gray in my beard, all right? And that's not just my kiddos. That's, you know, just carrying and working my tail off to serve all these tough cases. And so we have, over these last couple of years, God sent us a truly miraculous family and a world changer, Levi the legend, and Megan and Scott and the whole crew there. And so with that experience, we started our Neurological Intensive Program, our Perfect Storm Intensive Program. And I know you love this program. So, you know, there's a website, guys, you can go to. We'll put it in the show notes. If your child is really struggling, TBI, epilepsy, locked into autism, and you just want the best of the best to start care. And then we collaborate and we co-care with our PX doctors who are going to take care of you locally. But we have doctors coming, we have patients and families coming from out of the country, right, to come and see us for this. There's all the logistics and all the elements, but I want to speak to the human element for you. Those are your favorite concepts.
They are.
Those are your favorite ones.
They are. Because they're the hardest. these are people that have been to hell and back.
Yeah.
Truly. I mean,
Truly.
I just know that I'm the exact right person to support these people who have been through and seen the worst of the worst. And, when your child has experienced a TBI because they near fatally drowned, or they have a very significant seizure disorder, or they are, 4 years old and nonverbal, and I could go on and on.
Yeah.
I know what your life is like day to day. And I know how desperate you are. And I know that I'm the exact right person to be the guide. So I just really am thankful to have the opportunity to be the initial point of contact for them. I'm happy to also be their guide while they're with us. And then one of the most amazing parts is actually maintaining the relationship long term, getting to check in with the families once they've gone back, getting to hear your wins when you're back home, and all of the things that you're getting to do and be and have because of the healing through chiropractic. That is so exciting to me. I'm thinking of, certain cases that we've had, people that have gotten their driver's license, people that have had, I could go on
moved
and on
into
with
an apartment on their own.
Moved into an apartment on their own, or no longer suicidal and can't be left. There's so many things that have happened, and being able to have a front row seat for that journey, I'm incredibly thankful for it.
Yeah. So if you have questions about uncomplicated low back pain and frozen shoulder, I am not the chiropractor for you, and this is not your care advocate. But if you have irretractable seizures and TBI and all the things we joke, every now and again I'll go up to Jacqui and I'll be like, hey, you got a dad with traditional lumbalgia. I need a little breather here, just a little softball.
Little sciatica.
No, not that. That's hard. Don't send me that. I got no. No, it's our life, and we just wanted you to hear that because we're not just your. We cover this very well too. General pediatric and family wellness. Mm-hmm. That is traditionally where most family chiropractors stop, and that's awesome that they're serving that population. But when you see a nervous system focused PX chiropractor, well, then you can be ready to take neurological challenges to them. And if it's another degree and it's the intensive program, well, then we want you to find us on Instagram at PXDocs or Facebook, or go to the website, www.pxdocs.com, and just send us a DM. Because guess who's going to get that DM? Jacqui's going to get that DM. And you can ask us questions about the intensive program and get to that. But I have one final question for you that we did not put into.
Oh, man.
What do you think I was going to let you off there? Actually, did we follow the plan at all? The one joke we had prior to this podcast is like, they know us, our team knows us well. I was like, that's the least amount of outline and questions. I think they kind of want us just to do our thing.
Ad-lib.
Yeah, they knew we were going to not stick to it anyway. So they're like, why put a long 2-pager for you?
I love it.
You guys are going to let it rip with how God made you. So one thing that I think you share better, and I can't share from this perspective because I am one. Yeah. Why do you love chiropractors so much? And then maybe put the important, what we think, attributes on that. Why do you love the PX tribe so much? What makes chiropractors different?
They are some of the most skilled, generous, sentient, just incredible humans. They just care so much, and they have such excellence. And I just think I love chiropractors because of the ability that they have to impact humanity. Truly, the power that a chiropractor has in their hands to influence the outcome of somebody's life is just absolutely mind-blowing to me. So being able to support them, to help them in any way possible, to not only see their own value, but then also amplify that by 10 and take it to their community. It's really hard for me to find something that excites me more than thinking about a skilled, principled, on fire, neurologically focused pediatric PX doc. Truly, watch out, world, because we're coming for you.
So if you're out there listening to this and you're a chiropractor doing some really cool things and maybe in a more standard practice and just not taking all this stuff you're hearing on this podcast, and particularly this episode, if this is not what you take on full tilt every single day, well, that's our side hustle, if you will, is unleashing that true impact making power within chiropractors out there.
Yeah.
And we're called to do it because we know that we get to work through you to them, to families. And that's everything for us. So, Jacqui, I tell you what, this one was an absolute blast. We could go on for hours. This could be a 24-hour podcast marathon on that. And so we are definitely going to be having you back on the regular. If you are watching this on YouTube or something, or wherever you may see, if it's a video version of it, make sure you give Jacqui a shout out. Be like, round 2, let's go. Put it up tomorrow. Yes. We just think the world of you because you're changing the world alongside of us. And so we'd invite everybody out there listening, every parent, y'all, you're a Tony, you're a Jacqui out there to the first step in this mission is just advocate and go get your kid that help they need. Go get them to that PX doctor and you're the hero in this story because you are going to make it happen. You're going to take that new direction to get your child healing and listen to your gut, lean into your gut and find doctors who partner with you and do that. And then from there, let's all just save more kids. Let's empower and bring more parents, more moms, more dads, more Jacquies into this community. Absolutely. So we would love if you would rate the podcast. We would love if you would subscribe. We would love if you would share this. We'd love if you follow us on social media. Our Instagram is legit. Yes, and if you're 40 and above, you can go to Facebook too. All right? And you can hang out there as
Ain't
well.
That the truth?
Yeah, just kidding. We're in our 40s. I was about to say we're killing on Instagram. We have good teachers. We're working on it.
We are.
We're leveling up our game. Jacqui's is better than mine. I just share what my wife posts and my team posts and call it good. But follow us on Instagram for sure. We really, really love the content we put out there and YouTube. And we love y'all. We will be here on every podcast consistently and with true, just massive impact, bringing you hope, answers, and drug-free health. We'll see you on the next one.